Most people know their weight or their cholesterol levels. But what about your blood pressure? It could be the most important number you ever track. A blood pressure reading consists of two numbers, systolic and diastolic. But do you know what those numbers actually mean? And which one's more important? Lately, doctors have been focusing more on systolic pressure when assessing heart risk. However, a new study published in the American Heart Association's journal Hypertension suggests that diastolic pressure may still play a key role, especially for younger adults. In this video, we'll explain what each number means, which one might be more important, and why. Let's start by looking at how doctors used to view blood pressure readings. In the past, the diastolic pressure, the lower number, was considered more important. The common belief was that systolic pressure, the upper number, naturally increased with age, so it wasn't seen as a major concern unless it was extremely high. Meanwhile, even slightly elevated diastolic readings were often treated with medication, since doctors believed that the pressure in the arteries while the heart is resting played a key role in heart health. But recent studies suggest a different view on the risks of high systolic blood pressure. It's often linked to artery stiffness, an overactive thyroid, diabetes, or heart valve problems. And it's especially common in older adults. In fact, it's the most common form of high blood pressure in people over 65. If you're over 50 and have high systolic pressure, you're at a higher risk for serious health problems like heart attack, stroke, chest pain, and chronic kidney disease. These are all serious conditions that shouldn't be ignored. Now let's talk about the risks of having high diastolic blood pressure. When your diastolic pressure is too high, it can weaken the main artery in your body, called the aorta. The aorta runs from your heart, down through your abdomen, and branches into smaller arteries that lead to your legs. If the aorta weakens in the abdominal area, the part that runs through your belly, it can start to bulge as it becomes overstretched. And if that bulge keeps growing, it can eventually rupture, causing severe internal bleeding. This life-threatening condition is called an abdominal aortic aneurysm. So which number is more important? Over the years, research has shown that both numbers are equally important in monitoring heart health. However, most studies suggest that high systolic pressure carries a greater risk of stroke and heart disease than elevated diastolic pressure. This is especially true for people over the age of 50, which is why doctors tend to keep a closer eye on the top number. The increased risk may be linked to the pressure placed on the arteries when the heart pumps blood, making it even more important to monitor systolic pressure as we age. Still, both systolic and diastolic pressures are important and shouldn't be ignored. But even if you're managing your blood pressure with medication, you're not necessarily in the clear. One study compared people without a history of high blood pressure to those managing their blood pressure with medication. It found that even with medication, the group controlling their blood pressure still had a higher risk of heart disease than those who never had high blood pressure. In fact, the study showed that a 30-year-old with high blood pressure has a 63% lifetime risk of developing heart disease, compared to just 46% for someone with normal blood pressure. So even if you're on medication, your heart disease risk can still be significant. That's why the latest guidelines from the American Heart Association recommend regularly checking your blood pressure, ideally with a home monitor. This helps your doctor decide if you need to make lifestyle changes, start medication, or adjust your current plan. And remember, the key to a healthy heart is keeping an eye on your numbers, eating well, staying active, and regularly tracking both your systolic and diastolic blood pressure. After all, the American Heart Association defines high blood pressure as 130/80 millimeters of mercury, or higher. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and leave a comment below. And don't forget to subscribe to Blood Pressure Healthcare for more expert tips on managing and maintaining healthy blood pressure. Stay healthy, and we'll see you in the next video.